All right. Good morning, guys. This is Tim Lauer with the Coastal Conservative Show. We are coming to you live right now with our special guest, Alabama Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. Good morning, Will.
Hey, good morning. Great to be on. Definitely appreciate your friendship. Glad to be on and get to talk about the good things going on in Alabama and some things we're working on. But very encouraged with what's going on in our state right now. Look forward to talking about some issues going on.
Awesome. Let's start off. Tell us a little bit about your time in public service, and then we'll kind of get into the issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got elected to the House in 2014. I've always been a conservative, always been a Republican my whole life. Same with my parents, grew up in that, and really was involved in business, and then just kind of got tired of some direction our country was going in, and decided to run. Served in the House for 4 years, and really enjoyed serving in the House. Got to help kill a lot of taxes, lead the charge to help kill over 800 million in taxes. Passed the first. This is back before election integrity was, a hot trend, but passed, one of the strongest election integrity bills in the country. That was my first bill I passed in the House, and really just dove in on issues, economic development, workforce development, even a little bit then, and what could I do to help. And then just kind of decided after serving a few years there that I kind of wanted to move up and potentially, see if I can make a bigger difference for our state. Ran for lieutenant governor kind of as an underdog, and won that race. And now I'm serving in my second term. So I was fortunate this last time I didn't have a Republican or Democrat run against me. So, but we just continue to work hard every day, and honored to be the state's lieutenant governor, and love working on issues to try to help our state.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on today, and also thanks for coming down and visiting us quite often down here in Baldwin County. We appreciate that as well.
Hey, I love Baldwin County. I tell you what, y'all got it going on there, and we got to make sure as a state we keep all the growth going, and it's exciting what's happening there. What a great place to live. I mean, you think about Baldwin County, one of the most beautiful places in the country.
Absolutely, I agree. Let's dive into a couple recent news articles, and then we'll go into some other stuff. So first, coming off of daylight savings time, Tommy Tuberville wants to eliminate the daylight savings time. What is your thought on that? Thoughts on that?
Support it. I think we need to do it. Yes. I mean, I like, Coach Tuberville. Think he's doing a great job. And this is another issue he's right on. And I think, I haven't seen a poll on this, but it's got to be 95% of the people are in support of this. And it's just something we need to do. I don't like it getting dark at 5 o'clock.
No.
I mean, I don't like that at all. And so, we're big outdoorsmen, love sports. So I'm definitely supportive of that. Anything the state can do. My understanding is that's more of a federal issue, but anything we can do to support that, man, I'm all in.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. I think I don't see any benefit to any of our lives in this day and age of doing the daylight savings time. How about the congressional redistricting? What are your thoughts on that? How do you think it's going to affect 2024 and then future elections as well?
Yeah, I mean, first, I really think the courts got it wrong. I think, the maps we drew, if you look at it, were a whole lot, more consistent, whole, right? And, you look at what they drew. I mean, you talk about gerrymandering, my gosh. I mean, they split Mobile up, and that's one of the things we were arguing about, communities of interest, right? And the coast is certainly a community of interest. And so I really think the courts got it wrong on this. But we have the maps we have. And so looking at that, obviously I got two friends, running down there, and Congressman Carl and Congressman Barry Moore. I serve with, Congressman Moore and in the House, and know him well. I'm not planning on getting involved in that race, but we'll support whoever Republican nominee is. They're both, strong conservatives and do a good job. I think the other district, we're going to have to work really hard as Republicans, what used to be Congressman Moore's district. But I think Republicans can win. And I think it's going to be about getting voters out and making sure we get our Republican voters out, energizing the base. And, I think we can win that seat. So I'm not in this camp that I think we need to concede that. I think we need to get, the best candidate we can, and the primary will determine that. And then we need to beat the Democrats, because we don't need to lose that seat. to the Democrats in that. And I mean, I think Democrats are kind of smelling blood in the water, but I think they're miscalculating that. I think Republicans can win. I think with President, Trump potentially looks like he's going to be on the ballot against Biden. That's going to energize Alabama. I mean, and people are going to turn out like we've never seen, I think. And I think that bodes well for us in that district because, I mean, who's going to be energized about Biden? I mean, no one, right? I mean, but there's a lot of people that are sick of what's going on in our country. I mean, from you look at just energy production to, the push for just all this woke agenda to really, I mean, I think, the Biden crime family, right? I mean, he should be the one being tried in court, not President Trump. And so I think that stuff is going to really help energize Republicans and because we're ready to get our country back and take back control. And, you look at what's going on in the economy and inflation. I mean, it's devastating and it's hurting everyday hardworking Alabamians and they're not going to put up with it. And so I think we can win that seat. I really do.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. And we've been fortunate. We're not taking as big of a hit as the rest of the country, but we still are affected vastly by what's going on in the Biden administration. What are some things that you're working on with workforce development?
Yeah, thanks for asking, man. Workforce is one of my passions. And, it's kind of interesting. You look at our state, we've got about 65% of our students that end up not getting a 2 or 4 year degree. And so you think about that. And, we're working on potentially how do we get those students trained in high school for a 21st century job? And, and my thought process is this. I've got a construction business, a real estate company, and a lot of our employees, they don't have a 2 or 4 year degree, right? But they make a great living. And, and I really don't care what a plumber or one of our carpenters or one of our framers or electrician, I really don't care what they made on the ACT. Doesn't matter to me. Right? I care, do they know how to do that trade and do it well? You can apply that across every single industry in our state. And so what we're trying to do is create a new path that's going to be call it a career tech path to where students can focus on, maybe they don't take algebra 2, geometry and all, whatever it is, right, on up and trig, some of that stuff. But they go in and, they start learning about how to get trained for a job where when they're right out of high school, they know how to weld, they know how to, cut and do measurements, they know how to lay concrete. I mean, that is something, the purpose of education is to get people ready for a job, not to have them have high ACT scores and all be college ready, but then they're not going to go. And to be honest, we don't even do a great job at getting them ready for college. I mean, so I think on that, so we want to have a new path. We're also, want to try to have a cabinet level position in the governor's office that is a workforce person works with the governor's office to look over all the different workforce. You think you got community colleges, K through 12, AIDT, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, you've got the workforce regional councils, all these different people. Okay, well, who's the person that knows what's going on with all the workforce in the state and coordinating that? Because here's the thing, we can save a lot of money by streamlining that and making sure people are working together. Because I mean, really what everybody's trying to do, and I want to say there's a lot of good momentum. I mean, think down in y'all's area with the Baldwin Preparatory Academy, that's going to be 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students, 1,200 students a year that are going to go right into the workforce, right? I mean, that's huge. If we could do that model in every county in the state, now obviously every county can't have a workforce center that big, but most counties don't have the population for that. And so I think certainly that's a model and something I'm going to push hard for, but it really just gets down to common sense. What are the jobs that are out there and are we training people for those? And that's what we're going to do.
Awesome. No, that's great. And I drive by that academy or that building and it's just huge. I can't wait to see it open up.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it's the best facility in the Southeast. It's impressive.
Absolutely. So what are you guys working on with small business?
Yeah, small business, was proud last year of the grocery tax cut, right? Largest tax cut in our state history. The year before, we eliminated what was called the business privilege tax for small businesses, and then also raised the personal property threshold for small businesses. So they would come in and say, okay, this desk behind your wheel is worth, $700, and the chair over there is worth, $1,000 or $500, right? And then they add that up. Well, now the first $30,000 of that is not taxable. And that helps our small businesses. So going forward, we're looking at one of the things we're hearing from businesses that's a big problem is because our economy's gone well, the values of houses, the values of their businesses are going out the roof, right? And so they're having to pay all these new property taxes. We want to cap that, how much it can grow each year, because they do annual appraisals. Florida has a cap, I believe, of 5%. All right. So I think capping it where, because the businesses might not be making any more money, but their property taxes went up 5, 10 grand. That's not good. I mean, all that's doing is taking money out of hard work Alabamians. And so we want to try to cap that to where your property taxes can't go up. And then we're going to obviously on the Small Business Commission, make sure we support the workforce initiatives, but we really want to try to dial it in too on what can we do to help small businesses on different incentives. A lot of our incentives are geared towards the larger businesses, and those are important. But in Alabama, a huge part of our businesses are small businesses, actually the majority. And so what about if a small business wants to create 5 jobs? Is there maybe a little tax break we could give them or a tax credit? We're looking at some of that stuff as well to try to help offset the growth they want to do.
Yeah, that's great. And I started a small business in Alabama, and it's been, an amazing state to kind of get started in. And tons of people feel that same way. And we're seeing that there.
No, I agree. We just want to continue to help. And, I think anything you do, starting a business is tough. People don't realize it. And I got tremendous respect for everybody that's doing that. And we just want the state to be your partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's talk about school choice. Where's your stance on it? And do you ever think it's going to be passed in Alabama?
We're going to get it done this next year. I feel good about it, and I'm for it. I've lived it. My kids, went to a public school and now go to a private school. I'm for public schools, for homeschoolers, for private school. But here's what I'm really for. I'm for parents to decide what's best for their child. Each parent should have that option. Right now, we don't. And so, what I would support, and certainly open to other ideas and options, but I like the idea of having ESAs, which stands for educational savings accounts, where each family member, the parents, they'll get the money for their child and they can decide whether or not to go to public school. They can decide whether or not to go to a private school. They can decide whether or not to homeschool, whatever, charter school, tech school, whatever is out there, right? But the parent decides. And it's so important because we can't have somebody be tied down just to a zip code or, oh, I'm stuck in a failing school and I can't afford. And, I know like with us, our kids go to a private school. It's $9 grand per kid. If we were able to get the numbers thrown out last year was 6,500, well now if I get 6,500 to go towards a private school, I'm fortunate I can afford it, right? Because we just have good businesses, but now that's only $2,500 somebody has to come up with. So that's going to open the door to so many people. I think of places like Montgomery, Mobile, Birmingham, even Huntsville to a degree, right? And just the inner cities, the Black Belt, and then obviously all across this state. But the idea is now we're going to open up educational opportunities to everyone, and parents can really decide and have choices for what's best for their children. And I think that's real important, and it certainly works in other states. And I just believe it. I think parents know what's best, and I'm going to push hard on that. I'm all in, going to full throttle this next session. Glad to have the governor on board. We're going to get it done.
That's great to hear. I'm looking forward to that. As far as our economy in Alabama in 2024, there's a lot going on in the world. We're in 2 conflicts right now. We have a failing administration, stuff flooding over the borders. What does it look like in 2024 in Alabama as far as economy and growth and how that affects us?
Yeah, so in Alabama, we saw some pretty crazy growth numbers back. We saw 16% growth and 23%. And I think the most recent number I saw was 6%. So it went up, but still growing, right? We've had record budgets. We've been able to pay back rainy day savings accounts. We've been able to put money into new savings accounts. So we're in the best fiscal state position our state's ever been in, period, right? So we're in a great financial position. We were able to use, the money we got from the feds. We didn't have to pay back debts. We didn't have it, right? So we were able to put that into long-term infrastructure projects such as water, sewer, broadband. Going forward, nobody can really predict the future, right? But I'm very bullish on Alabama. Here's why. People are continuing to move to our state. Everybody thought we were going to lose a congressional seat, a few years ago during the census. Turned out our population grew 5%. Because our state was open for business, because our schools were open during the pandemic, people moved here, and people are continuing to move here. They're sick of what's going on in liberal states. You take a place like New York, they're overrun with illegals, they're overrun with crime. Right now, their Democrat mayor, right, has been saying what we've been saying all along, is that, hey, the border's a problem with, people coming in illegal. I think I saw something like 6.5 million people, more than the whole state of Alabama, have come in illegal. And so that impacts life. Well, Alabama, we're not going to put up with that. If you're illegal, we're going to try to send you home. We're not going to, And so I think when you look at Alabama as far as just good schools, for the most part, we don't have any issues on crime, great quality of life. And here's the biggest thing. We have the best people in America here. And so when people move here, they love it, and they love the people that are here. So I think Alabama is going to continue to grow. Now, we can't be stupid and do stuff like Highway 43, where we burn all our money in Southwest Alabama and not have enough money for growth areas such as Baldwin and Mobile County, or up in North Alabama and Huntsville, or on 65, right? I mean, that should have been 6-lane years ago. So, I mean, we've got to be wise and be good stewards of our resources and make smart investments in infrastructure. But I think Alabama is going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to have businesses come here because we're one of the lowest tax states in the nation. And we're going to continue to cut taxes. As our economy grows, we're going to give more money back to the people. And that's what government's about. We're not just going to grow government, we're going to give it back. And so I'm real encouraged by Alabama. I think 2024, we'll continue to see growth. We'll continue to see people move here. But I also want people to be realistic that inflation and interest rates are hurting us. And that's directly tied to our president and his lack of leadership.
Absolutely. I agree. I definitely think it's going to be a great year for us in 2024. There's some exciting things going on military-wise in Alabama. You want to speak about that for a moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, definitely my greatest honor is to get to represent our veterans and active military through what's called the Military Stability Commission. And through that, we've been able to pass a lot of bills dealing with license reciprocity, meaning that let's say you're a military family member and you move to our state. Can your spouse get a job in what they were trained in? Historically, we were one of the worst states. Now we're one of the best in the country. Obviously, you think about, you mentioned earlier, what's going on in the world right now. We don't have a country, we don't have a state. It's not for our active military and veterans. And so, we want to make sure that we are the most military and veteran friendly state in the country. And I'm not going to continue, we're going to continue to push bills until we hit that goal. You think about our veterans, and really proud of some of the work we've done there. We're now the #2 state in the country for veterans to retire in, right? The #1 state, I asked our staff, well, who's #1, right? It's Florida. And so then I asked why. It's because they don't have an income tax. So that's why when you hear me talk about taxes matter in rankings. Taxes matter where people retire. Taxes matter for people choosing to locate a business. And so, we've got to continue to be competitive and cut taxes and cut waste and make government smaller, more efficient, work for people, right? And we've got to be mindful of that. But on the military side, we're doing stuff such as public school choice for all military families. And I want to say this, talk about school choice. I've had generals call and say, hey, we need school choice for Alabama. And I'm just going to be honest with you. One of the military bases is in Montgomery, right? And if you move there, you're probably going to be zoned for a failing school, and who wants a failing school? Well, no one. So, I mean, so they ought to be able to have an option to at least get out of that system and with that, we have public, but they're also, I think if we can do the ESA route, then now they can have the option to, whatever they want to do, right? To go whatever school best suits them. They also, if they move schools, this is important. My kids play sports, love it. I got twin boys that are 13. They play football, baseball, basketball. Actually, they got a basketball game tonight, so that'll be fun. Get to go watch them. But I had a general, talk to me and said, hey, Will, I need your help. Got a son and, he's a real good football player, got a chance to play Division I football. He moved into Montgomery, and he decided to send his son to another public school. Well, the Alabama High School Athletic Association that was considered a transfer. They were going to make him sit out. And we got that changed where military families can move here. They have public school choice. They don't get penalized for having to sit out. So those are the type of issues we work on, working with the National Guard as well to make sure we have scholarships for, their students and that they can apply for that as well. And so really just trying to, we're going to continue to pass bills with license reciprocity and just making the overall quality of life for military families better in Alabama.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Growing up in a military family, I can definitely see the benefits of coming to a new area and not being restricted by a lot of that. So that's awesome news, and it's going to attract a lot of great people to continue to come to Alabama.
Absolutely.
All right, we're about to get wrapped up here. What message do you want to leave us with?
The final message is, Alabama's in a great place. It's because of all of the, wonderful people we have, in our state working together. And so, my message to everyone's get involved, care about what's going on in our state, care about what's going on in your local community. And then, let's all continue to work together to recruit business, make sure we have, educational school choice, and then, continue to invest in, our students, right? That's our future, and the future's bright. I was just at a Future Farmers of America conference in Indianapolis, got to meet 1,000 Alabama students, and just the class, the character, work ethic of these students. I'm encouraged, and getting to go around the state and meet people. Alabama's bright, and no doubt the best days are ahead of us. And so look forward to working with everybody. And final thing I want to say is this, if you're in Alabama, I work for you. So let me know what I can do to try to help improve our state. Any ideas you've got on what we can do? I don't claim to have, most of the best ideas come from, businesses, people, school teachers, right? So let us know what we can do, and then we'll try to make sure we get that enacted and, help continue to make sure Alabama is the best state in the country to live in.
Awesome. Great message. A lot of great information today, Will. Thank you for coming on the show. You've been, nothing but transparent, easy to get a hold of and kind of talk to. So we appreciate down here in Baldwin County, and we look forward to seeing you come down and visit again, guys. Tim Lauer, Coastal Conservative Podcast Show. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure to like and share. And again, thanks for coming on, Will.
Hey, always good to be on. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.